Hey, what's going on everyone? Justin here, and in this video I'm going to be doing the companion tag for the History Challenge Readathon event. If you don't know what the History Challenge is, it's a readathon that I'm co-hosting with Emma at A Couple Books, Jenny from Bookish Shenanigans, and another Justin from Ghost Reader. And we kind of put this tag together just to, kind of go along with the whole history theme that we're doing, obviously, with the History Challenge. I'll leave all their links and our announcement videos and all that cool stuff down below. Let's just go ahead and get started with the tag. Alright, question number 1. What first got you into history? And mine is kind of like a roundabout-ish way. Like in middle school and high school, I didn't care about history at all. And even in college, I didn't really care that much until I changed like into philosophy. I got really into philosophy and stuff and switched, and then my college was like, yeah, we're dropping the philosophy major, and I was just like, well, that kind of sucks. And so I decided, I don't know, I just was doing like all my own research and stuff, so I ended up with like a bunch of like minors, but I still like really enjoyed history, so I was like, I guess I'll just do that, because philosophy and like the political science one just got like destroyed for like the semester after I switched into them. So anyways, that's how I ended up with history, I guess you could say. And then I've pretty much just like always like read it since then. So yeah. Question number 2. What is your favorite history book or author? There's really so many. I don't really have like a favorite. I don't know. Like I have one sentimental-ish one, so I'm gonna go with that. And I've shown this one on my channel before. It's The First Punic War by J.F. Lazenby. And the reason, this one's kind of, I say sentimental, but like when I first made a website like 5 or 6 years ago, when I wanted to do like a history blog or a history website or whatever, the first major topic I covered was The First Punic War. And I read that book through probably 3 or 4 times, like doing like some of the research. Just like it was like the primary one that I was like using to find like some of the other textual evidence and everything. But so yeah, I guess I'll go with that one. I really enjoyed it, and I just thought it was a really good book, so there's that. Question number 3. What is your most anticipated history book that you've not read yet? I'm going to go with Thebes by Paul Cartledge. It comes out in, I think, 2 months, I want to say, but Thebes is probably my favorite city-state, and I think this is going to be like one of the, I only know of like 1 or 2 other books actually on the city-state, the polis of Thebes, like Athens and Sparta, just, take it for everything, basically. But Paul Cartledge is a pretty good popular Greek popular history on Greek topics and stuff. And like I said, it's on Thebes, so yeah, that's the one I'm looking forward to the most right now. Question number 4. What is your favorite time period and why? And a book you want to or have read about it? I have a lot of favorite periods, but probably the one I usually go with is late antiquity, which is sort of the end of the Roman Republic to the beginning of the Middle Ages. I think a lot of people just think in 476 or whatever, Rome falls, falls, and all of a sudden we're like in the Middle Ages. It's totally not the case. From like, there's like this weird, awkward, growing pains transitional period of like 500 or 600 years between like Diocletian, the emperor that started the Tetrarchy in the Roman Empire and stuff, to like, say, I don't know, around 800, around like Charlemagne's like era. And it's a very awkward era where, everything's changing. Like religion is completely changing, like at least in the West. Islam just like comes out of nowhere essentially, and the Mediterranean is just completely different, and all these like civilizations are just like the inheritors of Rome. You got like Byzantium, kind of like the Western, barbarian kingdoms, and like Islam are all just like coming out of like the carcass of like the Roman Empire, and everyone's just trying to like figure out like kind of what to do, and everything's like splintered, and there's just like a lot of interactions, and it's kind of like the Dark Ages. Probably isn't like the best way to put it, but I don't know, it just makes it a lot of fun to like learn about. And a book I need to read on that is actually Late Antiquity by Peter Brown. He's the guy who literally coined the term late antiquity. I think it was used just for like art purposes, like art historians for like a long time, but then he was like, nah, this is like a legit like time period. We should, call it something. You can't just like call it like the end of like the, I don't know, I'm not even sure what they actually called that period. I think they just called it like the early Middle Ages. Like apparently the early Middle Ages just like last for like 500 or 600 like extra years. So anyways, that's probably my favorite time period at the moment. That's the one I usually go with, but I got like a couple others. But question number 5. A time period you would like to learn more about in a book that you have either read or want to read about it. A time period that or kind of an event, I guess, that I want to really learn about, that's popped up a bunch of times, so I just like haven't got to it, is actually the Fourth Crusade, specifically the fourth one. I've read books on like the Crusade and stuff, but the Fourth Crusade is a very interesting one where basically, you know, the Crusaders just attack a bunch of like other Christian cities and then sack Constantinople, and Byzantium is just like, it was already on like the downward spiral kind of, you know, state of its existence, but like after the sacking of Constantinople by the Crusaders, it went like just into a complete nosedive for like the next 200 years. But there's just a lot of like weird figures and stuff. For example, like Doge Enrico Dandolo. He's like 90 years old or something and blind, but he's the Doge of Venice, and he essentially strong arms like all the Crusader leaders into basically being like, yeah, we're gonna like we'll give you like some ships and stuff, you know, so it's easier, but you're gonna take a bunch of these cities for me so Venice can like do better, and also you're gonna pay us like half the money and all the loot you get. So like he's like I said, he's like 90. I mean, just completely like outmaneuvers like all the Crusaders. And then there's like even an instance though when I can't remember, it's at the beginning of like some of the outer fortresses of Constantinople, the Crusaders aren't like, you know, making much progress. He literally has people row him to the shore. He's 90 years old and blind, and he's just like standing there, and like everyone has to like, you know, go out and actually like try harder to like save him and stuff. It's so ridiculous. But yeah, the Fourth Crusade is just basically just it's just the biggest cluster. I don't know. I'm gonna have to like edit that. Anyways, that in history. So yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm going with. And I have a book on it that I got recently. The Fourth Crusade and the Sack of Constantinople by Jonathan Phillips. Right there. Don't know really much anything about that book except it's on the Fourth Crusade, which is why I picked it up. Let's see, number 6. Who is your favorite person in history and a book you want to read or have read about that person? And I have so many favorite peoples. Like, I can't, there's just so many. Like, my favorite Hittite person is Suppiluliumus. You know, that just rolls off the tongue just so well, doesn't it? Probably for Greek, it's probably Epaminondas, yeah, who was basically like the leader at Thebes for a while during the Theban hegemony that Thebes that I mentioned. There is a like a historical fiction book on him, I think called like The End of Sparta or Breaking Sparta or something like that by Victor Davis Hanson. I haven't read it, but it kind of, like I said, it's like a historical fiction of his account where he, you know, pretty much brings like Sparta to its knees, which is cool because that's partly why I like Thebes too. There was like a 15-20 year span where they were basically like the top dog in Greece, and during that time they freed like all the helots in like Sparta and built them a city, and pretty much Sparta like kind of it was already in decline, and it took a nosedive like after that. I see like Romans and stuff. I probably like the Gracchi brothers as of right now, but that one changes like a lot. There are a couple books on them, but they're old. There is one newish one called like, I think, Marius Sulla and the Gracchi or something like that, but I don't know the author off the top of my head. Medieval period, I don't know. I do like Frederick II, Stupor Mundi. He was basically the Holy Roman Emperor, but he was like super progressive. Like he knew like a bunch of languages, studied science. He was excommunicated like a dozen times, literally. And he got so irritated. He's like, okay, part of the reason he got excommunicated so many times was he kept saying, yeah, I'll go on crusade, and then he like never did. And then he finally does, and he's like, look, I'm excommunicated and I'm still going to take Jerusalem. And he does, just by like negotiating. He doesn't even like fight for it, which kind of like defeated the whole point of like, you know, if someone that's excommunicated can take Jerusalem while all these, you know, holy like other like crusaders can't. It was just like really, just made it like really awkward for like the Catholic Church in the medieval period. But anyways, those are some of my favorite-ish people, just like off the top of my head, I guess. Let's see, what do we got? What's number 7? What is a history topic you would like to see more about in books? I think just more in general, like the ancient world, like the ancient Near East, like pre-classical Greco-Roman stuff. Just doesn't get, like, I don't see many books on like the Minoans or the Mycenaeans or the Phoenicians or the Hittites or the Assyrians or the Babylonians or Sumer or Akkad. Just no, I don't even think there is a book on, like, there probably is like some technical stuff on like Third Dynasty and stuff, and like the old Babylonian period and whatever. But yeah, just pretty much any kind of like ancient Near Eastern stuff. Like, I have a lot of history books. I got like what do I have? 28 shelves in this room. I only have like one shelf of like classical civilization stuff, just because there really isn't like tons of them if you're not getting like scholarly monographs and everything. So those would be and if I really had to pick one, it'd either be, I'd probably go with the Hittites, just because they're like my favorite. Right. Question number 8. What is a non-bookish resource that you enjoy when learning about history? And that came up because all my other co-hosts like listen to podcasts and stuff, and I don't. I don't anymore. So, you know, I think some people probably like documentaries on history stuff, or like, you know, the History Channel, like it used to be history, I think, like when I was a kid. But yeah, I don't watch history documentaries. I don't watch, or I don't listen to podcasts. I used to a little bit, but don't really listen to podcasts anymore. However, I will say, but if this question was like applying to all my nature reading, I watch tons of nature documentaries like all the time, and like I actually go out and like observe things like at, you know, in the woods or at the river and stuff. Like that's how I like to learn about nature and everything as well. But for history, I'm boring, and apparently I just read books. I would do an archaeological dig if, you know, there was one within 5,000 miles of my house, but you know, I live in the middle of the woods in northern Maine, so, you know, kind of stuck with that. All right, question number 9. What is your favorite historical quote or a fun fact? And I'll give you one of each. See, one of my favorite, I don't know, I got a lot of quotes, but one of my favorite ones is Hannibal Barca, the Carthaginian commander during the Second Punic War against Rome. One of his like famous lines is, "I'll either find a way or make one," which is really cool. Just when he's the one who crossed the Alps with 18 elephants. Was it 18? Of course, I say that. For some reason, I want to say it's 18 elephants, but I'm going to feel silly if it's not. But anyways, he's the one who crossed, you know, the Alps with all his elephants and like his Carthaginian and mercenary troops and stuff. And when he told like some of his, you know, council that, they were just like, "What?" And he's like, "I'll either find a way or make one." I mean, he might not have said that. I think Libby just kind of records that, but still a really cool quote. I really enjoy it, and it's kind of like a good thing, like when you're facing problems or obstacles and stuff, you know, I'll either find or make your own way. So I really like that one. Kind of a fun fact. Let's go with like an ancient Near Eastern one, since I said, you know, there should be more written on them, more books on the ancient Near East. Like especially like ancient Assyria, you know, they're pretty notorious for being like the most like brutal, bloodthirsty Near Eastern kingdom or empire. Somewhat justified, somewhat, but however, they did like gourmet food, and one of their favorite things for like the royalty, like the Assyrian monarch to like eat and stuff, at least under some of them, was basically like the equivalent of what we would call like a snow cone. They would literally get snow from the mountains and stuff and like bring it down still frozen through like a supply chain and everything, and like flavor it, and people would, the royalty would like eat it. So I don't know, I think that's pretty cool. They're eating like, you know, they're coming up ways to like, you know, flay people alive or torture another village or something, you know, kind of stereotypical for Assyrians or whatever. But and then, you know, they got snow cones. So all right, and now to shout out some people or tag some other people and stuff. I'm going to go with 6 people that are also participating in the History Challenge Readathon. So the first 3 are going to be people I've known before the event, and then the second 3 are ones that I've just newly discovered because of the event. So definitely we're going to go with Elizabeth at Bookish North. She has some really cool titles in her TBR I just watched this morning. A lot of them on like the ancient Near East and stuff, so I was like, yes. So definitely go check out her channel. Kara at Wild Book Garden, she's supported my channel for years now. She's got great content and stuff. Just really eloquent, well spoken. Definitely check her channel out as well. And Julie at the Hungry Bookworm. We've collaborated on a couple nonfiction things in the past and stuff. She's got a good channel too. Definitely check those one out. And for the 3 newish ones for me, we got Marianne at We Last with a Book, Liz at Literary Lizzie, and the Librarian of Alexandria. Now I gotta say, the Librarian of Alexandria has got to be like the greatest, like one of the best like nonfiction channel names like ever. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty cool. So definitely go check out all those channels. I'll leave links to there's just my like the info thing on the video is gonna be like just from like all the links and stuff. I'm gonna be leaving on this one, but anyways, definitely go check all that stuff out. And please check out the history challenge. I almost forgot the name of the readathon. The history challenge announcement videos if you want to participate. There's still time. Not that we even care if you're like late to the party anyways. So just, you know, reading history is always a great thing. But don't forget to check out my Instagram and my Twitter. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, my Twitter's pretty dead. But if you want to check out, you know, me, I think my last tweet was literally talking about me walking into a wall. So that's probably why my Twitter's dead and stuff. But if you want to see cool nature pics and stuff, also check out my Instagram. Check out the Etsy shop, all that cool stuff. And always remember, whatever you're reading, read victoriously.